This next contest is scheduled for one fall.
Well,
I apologize for that disturbance.
I got to say, on the one hand, I do agree with you. But on the other hand, man, I'd love to see her knock you.
Okay, I guess. Thanks for your support. I don't know. It's...
You know, speaking of people I'd love to see knock you out, Marion Fontaine is back.
No, we've been down that road a time or two. It's welterweight action here at this particular point of 0 hour. And two athletes who we really haven't seen in the welterweight mix in quite some time. Marion Fontaine made his return back at November Pain a couple of months ago, and he scored a big win in a four-way matchup when he pinned former welterweight champion Ace Perry. And I think that gave Fontaine the idea that maybe he can dominate the land of the welterweights.
Well, he's certainly no stranger to championships, no stranger to dominating opponents. Might have found a new life, revigoration, if you will.
Well, this is his decade now. We're in the 20s.
And we just got started. We got a long way to go.
Prefix notwithstanding. He's got a whole decade to be welterweight champion. But Fontaine loves to pattern himself in ring and in style after the 1920s, and we'll see if he can roar in with the 2020s. Let's meet the opponent. Sage Phillips is called the Ring Wizard because of his technical prowess. He is a student of the game, and those spectacles that Sage wears, kind of a Clark Kent to Superman transformation that he makes, but he gets a sense of strength of that as well, because Sage, he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, but you know what? Sometimes he can be the smartest or the most resourceful, and Sage Phillips has had a rough go of it in Cleveland. Let's be honest, BC. He has been in singles action. He's been in tag competition with his partner Cole Radrick. But Sage has really never broken out of the pack in Premier. He doesn't have a good win-loss record. But it's time for both of these athletes to maybe try to, in a way, kind of start anew. Fontaine got a big victory his first time back in. Sage Phillips is back in for the first time in over a year, and we'll see what he's made of, because Sage is somebody, like a number of men we've exampled so far here tonight. They study this art, they study this business, and they improve every time we see them. And I think Sage Phillips is in that category.
Well, I'd be hard-pressed to disagree with that. It only takes one victory, as we know, to propel a career, as we've discussed with Celeste Taylor before, but
Fontaine got the early going in his favor, able to take down Sage Phillips. And both these men, contrary to what many would say the welterweight stereotype would be, out of more high-flying and fast-paced, I think both these men are at their best on the mat.
Well, certainly you mentioned patterning his style after the 20s. That certainly would be Marion Fontaine, inspired by a young Thunder Kitty.
I know Sage Phillips has studied under a lot of greats in professional wrestling, and I think one of the athletes that Sage has taken the most from as far as just mentorship is one of the current Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, Jonathan Gresham. And for my money, Gresham is, at worst, top 3 technical wrestler in the world, maybe the best.
No doubt about that. Anytime you see Jonathan Gresham, you get a show. And
you see those rolls by Sage get out of the grasp of Fontaine. Behooves Sage's knowledge of wrestling on the mat. As both they go back and forth, rapid fire.
Well, I was saying, you get a show, you get somebody that knows how to maneuver their body in some ways that most people can't fathom, let alone try and understand.
And Fontaine is frustrated early.
Well, Fontaine, as you know, does get frustrated from time to time.
Oh, just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
He's only been angry around me for only about 9 or 10 years, so not that long.
Well, there's nowhere to go but up.
And Sage wants a test of strength. I'm not sure this is wise.
No, if Hannah beats you up, would I be able to do
What?
the whole show by myself?
You are always an opportunist looking for somebody else's problems to benefit you.
Well, I mean, hey, the world benefits the smart.
Do you know how uncomfortable it would be if Hannah Lightning was in the ring with J-Rock? Hannah's had, 2-3 matches in her life? J-Rock's been wrestling for 22 years.
Oh, well, I agree with you. That's not a place that she wants to be in. I mean, that is apparent. We saw what J-Rock was willing to do last month.
Yeah, and Hannah stood up for herself, but when push came to shove, J-Rock, as I said, has no moral compass. As Sage Phillips' shoulders are trapped multiple times, Fontaine trying to keep the blades of the shoulder down, but Sage Phillips showed some great strength in his core, in his upper body, and certainly with his legs as well to keep support of that bridge. And up now into a monkey flip, nicely done.
Marion Fontaine is a man with a moral compass of sorts. Might not always point in the right direction, but it's there.
Morals of the 20s, that doesn't say much. Society's evolved a bit in 100 years as both men bridging up, keep their shoulders up the canvas. I love this game of chess we're seeing between both these athletes. It's a different tone to the welterweights than we may normally see, but very, very intriguing.
And you'd have to think that could benefit either of these individuals.
Roll up here. Count.
Marion Fontaine, well-versed in a number of styles.
Jackknife pin, and Sage comes back. Rapid-fire pinning combinations here. Evenly matched contest.
Well,
I don't know if there's much of any of a weight advantage here, PC.
Well, now, Joe, I'm getting dizzy.
Well, both Fontaine and Sage are looking for a victory here. Sage ends up on top. Look out. That almost worked in the form of an airplane spin where Fontaine was dizzy and didn't know where he was.
What I was going to say is, the style may actually benefit Marion Fontaine. We saw Ace Perry didn't really know what to do. He couldn't get a handle on it.
Yeah.
You'd have to think that other individuals may have those same issues.
And this is the most confident and the most poised I've seen Sage Phillips.
Well, he knows what it means. As I stated earlier, it only takes one. And more importantly than that, though, it takes confidence. You got to have the ability. One thing to learn the lessons, it's another to be able to put them into action and know that you can do that.
Yeah, and I think maybe sometimes Sage Phillips in the past, what nice head scissors. Maybe Sage Phillips had a little bit of doubt in prior altercations. Maybe didn't know if the Premier was a good fit for him or not, or if he could hang with the level of competition. But I think Sage is putting any doubt to rest right now, as Sage a step ahead of Fontaine, who charged right into a back elbow.
But we've seen confidence. We saw confidence from Ashton Day. We saw confidence from Celeste Taylor. We know what confidence can do to a career.
And we see what a Bulldog can do to Marion Fontaine, who's on the floor again for about the third time. Fontaine's looking for a breather.
I don't want to doubt the great Marion Fontaine, the mustachio professional wrestler, but I'm starting to wonder if he's going to be able to capitalize on his momentum.
And Fontaine slipped back in as Sage was looking to go to the outside. Big smile on Sage's face.
Well, it was a smart move, but
Sage a step ahead. I'll tell you what, I love how Sage fights through adversity in the ring and out, and he's going to have a lot of it here. Fontaine, that fireman's carry slam got a near fall.
That might be a little bit more modern now.
Well, maybe just a tad. At least his interpretation of it there.
Or maybe it was a little bit further back. Maybe Abe Lincoln used that back in the day.
Oh, maybe he did.
During his wrestling career.
Maybe you should ask Thunder Kitty.
Well, her and Abe, there's kind of an issue there.
Never mind.
They were going to go see this play, and she couldn't make it. It was a whole thing.
I'm sorry I asked. Fontaine sends Sage into the buckle. Hard left.
Don't need to see that hard left from Marion Fontaine. We can just ask Sage Phillips about it. Missing a few teeth. Victor Vale could sell those because he lost his money.
Oh,
that's never going to get old.
Fontaine punishing Sage. I would love to see how people treated you when you were a rookie.
Well, I was respected, and people said, yes, sir, no, sir. They shook my hand. I had this.
So you bought him off from a young age.
Well,
Sage lands on his feet. Look out here. Jockeying for position, and Fontaine looked like Sage might be going for an octopus hold or maybe another unique pinning combination. And Fontaine just shut it down.
Certainly shades of Jonathan Gresham there, as you mentioned earlier. Marion Fontaine using that size advantage.
Fontaine the elbow. Right to the heart.
Well, there's another maneuver you saw in the 20s a lot.
The chokehold.
Yes, it's effective.
Nobody's arguing that at all. Is Fontaine getting desperate, knowing that how prepared that Sage has come to this fight?
Oh, he's certainly getting a little flustered and angry. And we know what happens when he does that.
Fontaine trying to mock himself here and make sure these people don't get inside of his head.
Come on!
That's the thing. You got to let the morons know that you're not affected by their jeers and their catcalls and their shenanigans.
Fontaine got a bit hung up for a moment, and these fans decided to try to ridicule him for it. And Fontaine is only serving to make him more and more irate.
And they should be ashamed of themselves.
Oh.
Marion Fontaine wouldn't ridicule her.
Have you met Marion Fontaine?
He's actually quite a charming individual.
Let's see. Fontaine, the overhead blow to Sage Phillips, the ring wizard. He's got to find the right spell to get out of the clutches of Fontaine.
Oh, not the culmination spell.
Vigorous speak.
Well, I mean, we saw what it did to Dupree, so...
I think Dupree had drop kick by Fontaine. As JR would say, Dupree had a case of the limber tail. Not the case for these athletes, though, as Fontaine only gets a near fall.
JR talked about the culmination's voodoo curse, too?
Sure. Why not?
I don't know Oklahoman for voodoo curse. This is limber tail. You learn something on every premiere broadcast.
What's 1920s for the end?
The end.
All right, then. That's maybe what we're going to see if you're listening to Fontaine. As Sage measured, check out that low center of gravity, that low base as Sage drops down, makes himself heavier as a counter for the suplex.
They say the great wrestler is one who can counter, not always one who can win offensively.
And Sage reverses and takes Fontaine down.
Turn your defense into offense. That's the key. And you know, you said that Sage Phillips had a rough go, but he's looking pretty good right now against one of the best around.
Oh, without question. I think Sage with a clothesline. And the back elbow. Oh, nicely done. Sage, a deceptively strong striker, gets underneath Fontaine for the German suplex. Wizard's gonna fly the heat-seeking missile through the ropes. Sage looking good, all impact here. Fontaine down with a flatliner. Could be an upset. Sage on top. No. And now immediately into a Koji clutch. Submission attempt here. Sage is thinking on his feet. He's adjusting on the fly, and Fontaine, center of the ring, may have to tap out. Fontaine shifts the weight. Sage breaks the hold, or else he'd have been pinned.
Well, that was a smart move by Fontaine, but I don't know how much that took out of him.
And Fontaine went to pick the leg of Sage, who was a hair quicker. Oh, boot right to the face. And Fontaine, the fireman's carry. And Sage turns it in to that octopus hold. Shades of aggression. We saw this attempted earlier. Fontaine could tap out.
Well, if he can get that grip.
And Fontaine's got a grip. He had a grip on the official to get his balance. And Fontaine drops back and traps his shoulders as Sage, and Fontaine gets him.
Here's your winner, Marion Fontaine.
Marion Fontaine was losing his balance. He was losing his equilibrium. He grabbed onto the official to stabilize himself, and that allowed him to drop back and trap the shoulders of Sage Phillips. Fontaine gets ahead in the welterweight division, and it looks like we're going to gloat about it now, too.
Oh, good, Joe. Shh.
Should you be surprised? This guy, Phillips, is a nobody.
Come on.
Never was, never will be. Nothing. Another goose egg for you here at Premiere.
Hell of an outing, man. He tried hard.
I call you a coward, but that could be giving you too much credit to assume that you even have a place in the wrestling business, because you don't. So get up my ring and let me talk to the people about how I'm going to be the next welterweight champion.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Sage Phillips just took Fontaine down.
I think he knocked him out.
And I think Fontaine just woke up something inside Sage Phillips. He's not a loser. He's not a nobody. He's a competitor and he's a man. And Sage Phillips, apparently, is not going to take this lion down.
Well, Fontaine's going to have to take this lion down right now until somebody wakes him up.
Fontaine stepped over the line once too often, and Sage Phillips, in my money, the best outing of his premier career. Sage is not going to take this lost lion down. Sage is going to fight for what he believes in.